Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Dip Yanko.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Zihir Basho. In tonight's Game Plan, we'll talk about today's big milestone in the UAAP history as the NU Lady Bulldogs capture their 100th straight win.
And we'll also preview the Gilas Women U17 as they take part of the FIBA Asia Cup. And we'll put the spotlight on more teams who are making a comeback in the 2022 PVL Reinforced Conference. They say there are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and the dominance of the NU Lady Bulldogs in women's basketball. The Queens of the Court check off another milestone in sports history after a big win over the UP Fighting Maroons. The final score is 79-44 in favor of the six-time defending champs, who was led by Mika Camacho, who dropped 15 points, Mika Cacho rather, who dropped 15 points, 5 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block. And joining us tonight to talk about their epic 100th win is UAAP basketball analyst Danica Jose. Welcome to the game, Danica.
Hi, Danica.
It feels so surreal saying 100th win.
Grabe.
And we were talking about this prior to the start.
Right.
Danica, when was the last time na natalo itong NU at nasan ka nun?
It was back in 2014. I was on my senior year in Ateneo. So that was the last time they lost actually to LaSalle.
So it has been 3,014 days since without losing.
Without
Itong
losing,
NU
yeah.
Lady Bulldogs 2014 nga. Are they truly unbeatable, Danica?
Well, at the rate they're going, they're very
Yes.
much unbeatable. But if you put it to perspective, you know, basketball, the saying is bilog ang bola. It could be anyone's ball game. But at the rate the NU Lady Bulldogs are going, they just don't want to stop their winning tradition. They want to go all the way. And with that, they also want to make world history.
Correct.
They are now they're now dead set on the 112 straight wins because that's the world record for women's basketball, where UConn has the most number of wins, which is 112. So pag natalo nila yon, sila na yung may record in the world for most number of wins.
That's a crazy feat. If
Without
they do that.
losing at all.
So far, they are the exception to the rule na bilog ang bola.
Yes, that's right.
Sabi nga, three certain things, diba? But
Crazy.
before we go to the game na nangyari kanina, let's backtrack a little bit yung game nila against UST, which you covered, I believe, diba?
Yes.
It was the closest that a team got to
That's
against
true.
NU, which was last weekend. Can you tell us more about that game?
Well, it was really a well-fought game actually for both teams, NU and UST. They were actually the teams that went up against each other back in 2019. So it was a finals matchup, which was really exciting to cover because all of the players really contributed and delivered. And the level of competitiveness, the quality of basketball when we were covering. Yung partner ko si Jaime, kulo na lang, nakatayo na kami. Grabe, this game is so intense at 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
If you could just imagine the intensity and the energy of the players. We were so pumped at 8 in the morning on a Sunday morning.
I mean, you were there, and I wanted to ask if was there pressure in the air for them to close out that match? Tight match, 78-75, and nakita mo ba from the coaches, from the athletes themselves, from how they were playing, was there some kind of pressure that you can see coming from them to
muntik
get
na
that 100th win?
Well, they've been used to getting big leads for their opponents as early as the first quarter or the first half.
Yeah.
So this kind of rocked the boat a bit during the halftime. You could see the coaches of NU up on their feet, really trying to make adjustments just so they could stop the momentum of the UST Lady Tigresses. So talagang even the players were shocked.
Yeah.
Because they're not used to a situation like that wherein a team was up against NU na super dikit yung laban. So, I think it really parang showed their character that they still had that killer instinct, that champions mentality na hindi kami papatalo. We're not gonna settle for just an ordinary win, but a win is still a win. They got it, and now they're on their 100 win.
Right. And from that game, yung against UST, na sobrang dikit, 3 points nga lang, all of a sudden they bounce back pa
That's
to, no?
right. Yeah.
Sa point na to kasi may dumikit sa kanila. But today, tinambakan nila yung UP Fighting Maroons by 35 points, if my math is correct. 79-44. Kanina lang yan. So, can you tell us more about that game? And can you tell us what makes this NU team so dominant, I guess?
I guess it's because of the winning culture that Coach Pat Aquino started.
Right.
The program, from recruiting to the support of the management. They're really a tight-knit team. It's really a collective effort. It's not just the players, not just the coaches, but you really have to give the recognition to these people behind the team who are supporting them all the way. So, if you could look at the stats kanina, everyone contributed eh. Parang the scores were equally distributed, except for the super senior, Mika Cacho, who led the team with 15 points.
Right.
But it was really a way for the players to bounce back. Bounce
Yes.
back na nga.
So hard.
Kasi they wanted to show that their defense is their identity. It's their DNA na talagang pag dumipensa yung NU, kakabahan ka or mararattle ka na when you're on the court. And it's something that showed as early as the first quarter. I think the score was 31-6. So
my
they
goodness.
limited the UP Fighting Maroons to only 6 points during the first quarter, which says a lot for that
grabe.
team, right?
Grabe yung ginawa nila kanina.
Grabe naman talaga. I mean, it's cool that you mentioned that. Let's take a few steps back. Let's see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
How hard is it to stay on top for a team like NU?
Well, I got the chance to talk to Camille Clarin actually during the weekend. And then she mentioned that it's difficult when you're on top because everyone is out to get you. And the pressure is on you since it's a streak that you don't want to be beaten. And everyone is just really, parang target natin, finally, you have to end the dynasty of the NU Lady Bulldogs. It's been too long, and I think it has to be a certain team, di natin alam which season, pero yun talaga yung nagiging goal for each and every team in the UAAP. So I think the pressure is always on them, but they still manage to rise above the challenge and just maintain that winning culture within the team.
Right, and while you're there at the top, diba, enjoy mo lang, 100
Yes.
wins, diba? Tuloy-tuloy
Celebrate,
lang.
yeah,
Don't
for
think
sure.
about getting that next loss after a long time. Now, puntahan natin, syempre, first time i-cover yung women's basketball in live television. And in general, syempre, what is the feeling or what can the female athletes learn from, especially from NU Lady Bulldogs na pinapakita nila on live television na, hey, we can dominate too.
Yeah, it gives a lot of recognition on the level of basketball for women. So parang there are a lot of up-and-coming players, promising players who finally get a platform for them to watch na I can be part of that arena someday, or I could strive harder para lang mapunta ako sa situation na yun. Kasi it's televised already, so it gives them a lot of opportunities na finally nakikita ko na yung mga idol ko, or at least I see something na I can look up to.
Right.
So even me and sila Bea and all of the other players who were part of the UP women's basketball, we're just so happy that these players finally get the chance to ball their hearts out on live television during the weekend. So I'm super happy for them.
I'm sure you're super proud coming from the same league, diba, you played in the UAP.
Correct.
And we are just so happy also for the NU Lady Bulldogs.
Super. And I know we're gonna be talking about more women's basketball because after the break, we'll take a peek at the Gilas Women's Under-17 as they get ready to compete in the FIBA Asia Cup. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back to the game. The Gilas Pilipinas Women's Under-17 team is 1 day away from the FIBA Asia Cup 3x3 battle. And still with us to know more about the girls and their upcoming tournament is basketball analyst and former Gilas Women's member, Danica Jose. Danica, thank you for staying. We'll keep talking about women's basketball kasi grabe talaga yung impact nila so far this year. Earlier we talked about the NU Lady Bulldogs and now we're back to talking about the youth Gilas girls naman. And kanina, before we went on live, we were saying na grabe, jet setters itong mga batang
Yes,
to.
that's true. Mas
Grabe.
marami pa silang tournaments abroad rather than the actual Gilas
Dami
Ates.
natatak ng passport.
I know,
talaga.
yeah.
So we have the lineup right here, and it's interesting to note that it's actually the time for the locals to shine. Here we have Camille Nolasco, BJ Villarin, Ari de los Santos, Nicole Pring, and a very exciting time for these girls as they step up the notch higher. Dito nga para sa mga batang Gilas ladies natin. And yun nga, as I mentioned earlier, this is now the time for the locals to shine.
That's right. And it will be very exciting for them, lalo na they're gonna be up against two teams agad tomorrow. They just arrived this morning, and to be part of a tournament like this actually elevates the level of competition for women's basketball, especially the youth. So you gotta start somewhere, right? So buti na lang these players are ready to play, ready to be suited up for the game tomorrow.
Right, let's zone in on the two locals first. No? Si Camille Nolasco, first of all, and BJ Villarin. Let's go to Camille. A lot of talk about this lady, si Camille Nolasco. I know she's from Miriam College.
Yes,
she played
yes.
ball
My alma
there.
mater.
Exactly,
Yes.
proud alumni. And of course, what can you say about Camille and what she brings to this team?
Camille Nolasco is really a promising player. And I've seen her play. I actually got to play with her for past tune-up games before. And she really has the potential to lead the team. And with the experience that she had from FIBA Under-18, Under-16, 5-on-5, I think she will be expected to lead this 3-on-3 team for their upcoming games for this tournament.
And siya nga ay isa sa mga dalawa na nakapaglaro na abroad in
Yes.
FIBA tournaments, under-16, under-18, pero 5-on-5 yun.
Yes,
Ngayon,
5-on-5.
3x3.
Yep.
And that's Camille. And this one, there's another lady who's gonna be playing in the 3x3 tournament, si BJ Villarin.
Yes. So both of them were actually teammates during the 5-on-5 tournament for FIBA. But I don't think everyone or a lot of people know that 3-on-3 is an entirely different ball game. It's a lot faster, mas nakakapagod siya. And even the rules of that game is way different than what we have with 5-on-5.
Okay.
So I bet these two ladies had to adjust in terms of their level of play, their style of play. Kasi syempre, mabilis na yung games for this one. It's a fast-paced game that you have to make sure that you're in tip-top shape para makatagal ka sa entire game.
Right, so aside from the mainstays, meron din mga bagong parte itong Gilas program. Specifically si Nicole Pring, who is a 5'2" point guard, part of the National University High School. And you also have Ari de los Santos, a 5'4" wing naman from Adamson. What do these two girls bring and how will they mix up with the mainstays of Gilas?
I guess these two young players were able to train with BJ and Camille a month ago or a couple of months back. So that was actually the time when Coach Pat and the entire coaching staff called for a tryouts for the FIBA 3x3 tournament. Kasi you really have to look for girls who are ready to play, who also have the passports also, who's ready na talaga na matatakan and all. And these two girls actually showed up. They came prepared and just really wanting to contribute and grab this opportunity to play and represent for the country.
All right, so very exciting time for these ladies. And let's check out the tournament preview as we head on to day one of the 3x3 tournament tomorrow in Malaysia. So this team, the 3x3 team, will be led by the legendary women's head coach, Pat Aquino. Tomorrow we got Philippines versus Hong Kong at 2:50 p.m. and Philippines versus Thailand at 4:10 p.m. naman. Gilas has ranked 13th in the tournament and they will be playing for a qualifying draw ito nga, sa 2 games na to. So, very important matches for
Yes.
them to win. Dalawa kagad bukas.
Yes, they need to win both games for them to be qualified for the next level, which
Correct.
is against Japan and Mongolia naman. So these young players need to get some rest tonight. They need all the rest that they can kasi bakbakan talaga sila for the entire week and they play 2 games in a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We've talked about the ladies. How about their mentor, their head coach, Pat Aquino? Nabanggit mo, siya yung nagdala ng winning culture sa NU Lady Bulldogs. But this time around, how different will his role be dito naman sa 3x?
I don't think it's gonna be any different because of how he is as a coach, the winning mentality that he really tries to embody with his players. Dala-dala niya yun from the youth program to the women's program and even before to the NU program. So I think it's something that he has been really consistent with and it also shows with the accolades that he have both locally and internationally.
We are looking forward to that and we'll be cheering on
Yes.
itong Gilas
Yes,
Pilipinas
of
Women.
course.
Subaybayan natin yung games ng 3x3.
Bukas. Yes.
And magko-cover ka ba? Gusto namin ikaw. Sanay na ako kay Danica.
Okay,
mag-cover
why
ng
not
mga
you?
games eh. But thank you so much, Danica,
Thank you
for joining us
guys.
tonight
Good to see
and
you.
talking about women's basketball. And after the break, we'll find out what to expect from 2 teams looking to bounce back in the 2022 PVL Reinforced Conference. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. You're watching The Game. The PVL is now in full swing with the debut of more squads in the Reinforced Conference. The Petrogazz Angels and the Chery Tiggo crossovers are starting strong in the conference, taking home wins yesterday. Let's break down those matches and get a preview of tomorrow's games with volleyball analyst and multi-titled coach in the girls division, Coach Babes Castillo. Coach Babes, welcome to the game.
Hi,
Hello
Coach
there.
Babes.
Good evening, everyone.
evening.
Hi. Hello
Coach
there.
Babes, you had your debut yesterday as an analyst in the PBL.
That's correct.
I wanted to ask you first, how's the feeling? Ano ba yung difference from being on the sidelines as a coach and now
I know.
nakita mo yung games in the eyes of an analyst? Kamusta yung experience?
Well, one thing I can tell you, as soon as I sat on the chair of the analyst chair, I said to Boom Boom, you know what? I really miss coaching. Dati andun ako sa isang chair, trying to prepare for the battle, I should say. But now, I'll just be an observer. But equally fun pa rin, no? Especially yesterday, the game last night was truly exciting.
I was telling Dip nga kanina, Coach, parang feeling ko it's Coach Babes who's been the first ever coach na analyst. We usually get the players like we got Mozi Ravena Noringo, we got the Remolyo sisters, and now we get a fresh perspective from a coach. So, Coach, sobrang interesting to hear pieces of information that you share. What's been the highlight so far of your experience as an analyst here?
Okay, so let's talk about yesterday's game last night. No, it was truly a surprising game. You know how number one, si Chery Tiggo was able to manage to win, and the way they won for me is really very interesting. Kasi you can see all the locals are actually contributing. You know, at Paat making 16 points, followed by EJ Laure, who's I think made a really impactful comeback, no, for Chery Tiggo. And yung kanilang import, no, their import did not make much of a presence on the attack, but definitely helped in the passing in the defense arena. At some point in the passing side, outperforming pa yung kanilang libero, no, si Doremdes. So there you go. The locals are really shining up for Chery Tiggo last night. And si Jasmine Abor really did shuffle her attackers in a way that everyone was contributing.
Alright, lipat naman tayo sa kabilang game, Coach Babes. You mentioned the locals stepped up yesterday, and one of them was Jonas Abete for the Petrogazz Angels. They won actually in straight sets against Chocomucho. And what did you see in that game sa matchup ng Chocomucho at Petrogazz? Were you surprised na straight sets yung ginawa ng Petrogazz?
You know, ganun nga eh. Parang lahat nga is yesterday's games were all a surprise, no? Probably one factor then is because most of the team who gave us a really surprising end game yesterday was because hindi lahat, ito yung mga teams na hindi masyadong tinamaan ng COVID. No? Walang di masyadong tumama sa kanila yung
Injuries
COVID. And
din,
this
no?
is, of course, may plus yun. No? And that's a good thing. Now, truly, that's a good recovery for them. The next thing that you want to see is they got to make it consistent.
Yeah.
So, yes, importante that you keep on producing, you keep on exploring all the spaces and angles in the court. Kailangan nilang i-activate lahat ng kanilang arsenals para ngayon pa lang ma-explore na nila, and they can fine-tune and hopefully make consistent production through this season.
And it's interesting, I think it also helped that they've come from the Open Conference previously a few months ago, and then talagang yung locals yung nag-step up. And speaking of playing off of season or tournament, just a while ago is this Creamline team, and what do you think the fans will expect in their debut game against PLDT?
You know what? I kind of got a glimpse of snippets of their game against NU, and that's a very, very good tune-up game because you're gonna play against a fresh young legs, fresh from a UAAP champion, and the style of game of NU is all about mastering the tempo. So para sa mga professionals, yun ang gusto mong tune-up game so that you can see how you can match with the speed of these young guns, no? And although NU won in the first set, they managed to get all the 3 sets and winning the game eventually. And that's a very good tune-up. So, what do I expect? Well, probably you'll see a faster Creamline on their first game. So that will be a very good truly a good game to watch.
Tsaka kakalaro lang itong Creamline in
That's
different
why.
tournaments internationally pa. Yun yung mga
That's
nakaharap
right.
nila. But their
right,
opponents tomorrow will be the PLDT high-speed hitters na nakakuha na rin ng isang panalo. How do you think will they match up against this Creamline squad, itong PLDT?
PLDT managed to win, I think the first game they managed to win. Ang gusto ko naman sa PLDT is they are relatively a young group together, no? But they were able to somehow manage to even their distribution on the points. So I think that's a good foundation to start for the league.
Yeah.
Again, kailangan lang itong Open Conference I saw importante talaga is mastering the tempo and activating all your equipment. So I think they're in the right track. So heading up with the Creamline, kaya nila yan.
All right, definitely exciting matchups that we have for tomorrow. But Coach Babes, that's all the time that we have for tonight. Abangan ka na lang namin when
Dito.
you cover the games and dito sa studio.
Yan.
Next time, Coach.
That's right.
We'll see you
Can't wait
here.
to see you guys. Can't wait to see you guys.
All right, thank you for joining us. I'm G. Hervasio.
Catch us weeknights here on One News, One Sports, and One Sports Plus. I'm Dip Dipiaco, and this has been The Game.